Which is why, since you're out tonight, to me it would make sense. I agree with you, sir, that it kind of makes sense for whoever wants to, do the research to determine what an appropriate decimal amount is, because I don't know.
Amy,
Yes.
you said something about Virginia, their data centers. What are their decibels and megahertz and frequencies?
Theirs are read 500 feet from the building. And it is 60 decibels to residential, but it's measured 500 feet from the building that produces the sound.
Okay, so 60 decibels. What about the frequency, megahertz?
Well, that's what I was digging in here trying to find the megahertz in this. They have a whole formula in here to calculate. That's way over my head.
The sound frequencies can become harmful at certain intensity. Infrasound below 20 hertz is generally inaudible but can affect the body and inducing discomfort. So,
Look at it this way. You've got tinnitus, ringing in your ears, which I do, which sometimes is a little overwhelming. It would be like trying to ignore that, and you can't. It's always there. Sometimes you can push it behind, but it's always there. You always hear it.
This will tell you 1,000 megahertz is a baby's cry. 600 hertz is the sound from a predator. And lower frequencies are felt, but they can't be filtered out. There's different noise intensities. I mean, it gets really complicated in the weeds. So I think this is where I ask for a third-party review for somebody that has more knowledge than any of us does, because we're all digging on the internet trying to find the right information.
So if you put in that, and you amend to the ordinance that, a third-party review has to be done on the effects of the body from the frequency, so they're amended.
okay,
And then only if they approve something that's within a livable frequency. I mean, that's not gonna affect people. Because if they can, if they're saying they can filter out whatever, then they can put something around those generators.
Well, we could say, add the restriction for the noise, but then add in two, that has to have a third-party study done for the noise.
I'd say on humans and livestock.
For all living creatures.
Yes,
I would think
What
that
did I
they would
say?
be able to tell you
Thank you, Mike.
what frequency they're producing.
So,
See, I would think they would be able to say, we produce a frequency within this range.
they should be, yeah, they should.
But that doesn't mean they will. Even if they have it, they won't. Doesn't mean they're gonna give it to us.
That's where the should shall comes in.
They're probably gonna do a lot.
There
They
is-
say they're not going to.
on the back of
That's why
this,
I wanted,
part of it is required studies and the environmental impact study, confirmation that site plan as provided would not have adverse impacts on the environment in regard to light, air, and noise pollution.
But what?
Yeah.
Whose opinion?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I got them 3 times. But
What
they
we
need to
do.
do their duties.
After submission by a qualified independent third-party professional approved by the county. So.
Approved by the county. So, yeah, no.
Third party approved by.
So they can't.
So there is,
Just need what-
they have that.
there you go.
Yes,
Third
approved
party
by,
approved by local
The local.
governing body.
But you're gonna have to pay for it, but
Well,
it's pointless to.
I bet we could pass the hat. And
yeah,
Vote on this table.
Hold on, just-
Was this their first time?
Yes.
And they sent the whole war party up there to convince them.
They did what?
They sent the whole war party up there to convince them.
All the commissioners,
I don't know.
or the same ones that were
Same
here.
ones are more.
really?
So
All the times I leave my phone, I want to see signs.
that can fix that, and then, does that address the noise level?
Well, we'll have an added restriction and a third-party study approved by a local governing body for all, must be conducted for noise pollution to all the,
And then, I think one last one,
Should be air, you should include air,
noise and air pollution.
yes.
and this, I think, sticks with the noise ordinance. Within 60 days of issuance of certification of occupancy for each phase of development, and at any time, the executive director requests it, post-development sound study must be submitted, the study must be conducted, generally known for peak data center cooling operations. In the event the study shows that the use exceeds maximum allowable decibel levels, the operator must immediately undertake all necessary efforts to comply within a reasonable timeframe.
There's nothing.
The term regional timeframe.
We had a long discussion about that in the meeting. That's a verbiage from me.
And so they're not talking about the decibels, so they're not talking about the frequency.
Well, that would be a, hey, we changed this, it's gonna filter down to change that as well, as my assumption.
But unless it's explicitly stated, it doesn't happen. Just like if you don't have a piece of paper that says you took this test, and you know what you know, you know. So unless you state what you want verbatim, it's not gonna happen. And even though we state it, it still may not,
Right.
but we can at least say, these were our demands, this is what we wanted to happen, and they told us no.
Jacob, you know what, I mean, is there, how do you defend that or go with that, like what a reasonable time frame is? How do you judge what a reasonable time frame is? One person's reasonable, 2 weeks,
Well,
one person's.
Normally, when that's laid out in state statute, and I'm not being smart aleck, the court ends up telling you if it's challenged in a legal, proceeding of whether something is reasonable or unreasonable. You can look to other municipalities to see what timeframes that they put on it. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head what would be considered reasonable just because I'm not the one carrying it out. But, I mean, it's not unusual for state statutes to have that language in it that says within a reasonable time.
So we just come up with an arbitrary number, say 120 days?
Well, and it would be, and the reason being is if this was filed, if a complaint was filed in court alleging that it wasn't, I mean, the court's gonna look at the factors of like, realistically, how long does it take to carry this out?
Yeah.
What have other projects taken, and if it's in the same ballpark, they're probably gonna give some deference. If it's, substantially delayed without any justification, that's gonna be considered unreasonable.
Right.
It's very vague. It's
Yeah.
very vague.
Well, and the other thing too is when you're, just to keep in mind, when you're talking about, okay, well, if you're out of compliance and then here's the fine. When you're talking about someone that has a $15 million budget for the year.
Well, that doesn't
Well,
happen.
no, I'm just saying, for instance, when it comes to things like this and the fine, if you have someone with a huge budget and your fine is only $1,500,
Yeah.
they'll say it's the cost of doing business and just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's where the enforceability of some of these really needs to come into play, and we really need to know who we're dealing with, so you can even set what a proper fine would be, which of course is nothing that anyone in this room can do, but it's just something to put in the back of your head.
Glasgow
Or if you're
County's
at a-
finding that out the hard way right now with these solar projects because they've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of violations and they just pay it because it's no big deal.
Yeah,
So
right.
It has to sting a little bit.
It's a Bob the ocean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and where, if you're not used to looking at it, if you haven't worked for a big company that for a big number, I used to pay bills over 50 grand and be like, oh, that's not that bad for what I was doing. Now, 50 grand to anyone in this room, and even me personally, that's a big number. But it's not, so everything has to be relative, and when you don't know who you're dealing with, you can't make a relative decision.
So is there anything we can add to that would? Do we need to add a concrete day to repair the infraction? Or
I'd
just,
take that down.
What,
Or can you actually state that it can't be a rolling infraction? Can you word it to where it can't just be a
most of the
business
time,
decision?
it says that, they're provided a notice of infraction. They're given, it's not unusual to say, they're given 10 business days to cure the infraction, and then if they don't, that's when they're fined or whatever.
But is there a way to word it to where they can't do it that way?
To where they can't continue to do it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I
I
think,
mean, that's where we need to go with it.
Yeah.
You have to make it so it can't just be a business decision.
or the, I've seen it written in such a way where they essentially give like one warning and saying, this is the problem, and then after that, for every violation thereafter, it's just automatic fine.
But at what point can you shut them down?
Well, shutting them down is when the building inspector for the county pulls the permit for violating either.
Okay, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, so I mean, let's put it this way, the town of Wolcott isn't gonna.
No, we're not gonna stop them, but I mean,
Yeah,
unless we file a class action against,
for injunctive relief.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, normally it's going to require the building department pulling the permit that's been
Operating
issued, the operating permit, because they've been violated. Because normally when those are issued, they're given terms and conditions under which they can operate. And a lot of times that includes the incorporation of road use agreements, economic development agreements.
so EDA is what, they're not enforcing.
And so if they're not enforced at the county level, anything Wolcott
okay,
does isn't gonna really matter.
so that's
At that point, you're
peeing into the ocean then,
shooting a rhinoceros with a spit.
I mean,
which is fine. I'm learning things.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, other than that, that is all I had on my list to add to the amendments.
Okay, anything else? That doesn't state. Are we good with the noise if we add in that third quarterly study?
it has to be, I mean, you have to specify that the hertz and the frequency,
Frequency and megahertz to that,
or the, yeah.
Right.
And the decibels, you have to have the decibels and make it, they're two totally different things. Because OSHA says you can have 90 decibels for 8 hours. Which is insane. You have very good hearing protection and still have hearing loss.
okay, decibels, frequency and megahertz.
Mhm.
All right, are we ready to make this motion?
What,
Go ahead.
Talking about deep well injection.
I had the removal of the direct well injection.
That does fall under the, Department of Natural Resources,
Sorry.
injection and waste engineering.
Yeah, but you got the railroad consent from everything. That's how they were getting along. But Gilliland said they were gonna remove that anyway. Then I hope something happened. Rather have it just in there saying that we would like to have it.
Katie, yes.
Right. He said that in the meeting, last meeting, but still rather just have it.
Yeah.
So, okay. We ready?
Yeah.
Who's gonna make it?
Actually, can't read your hand.
Well, I'll read, okay, do you want to,
what
would
you're doing.
you like to start the motion and then
I will
read what I have?
I will like to make a motion to make
Okay.
amendments to ordinance number
2025-1118
2.
B.
Yes.
A86 amended chapter. Anyway, Okay, so we have a property value guarantee, 10-mile radius to nearest property line of data center. Setbacks, 1,500 feet to the property line and 1,750 to the dwelling. Removal of direct congestion in I-3 along the railroad. Add restriction for noise, decibel, frequency, and megahertz to the edge of data center.
That's our property line.
Uh,
That is our property line.
Yeah. Okay. And then add a third-party study approved by the most local governing body. Must be conducted for noise and air pollution to all living. Okay. Do I have a second for this one?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay. 4-1. Okay. Anything else on that?
Start.
Huh?
To start.
Just started.
Yes.
We're not
Exactly
doing
what I
any-
was thinking.
Huh?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay.
Now, just to see if we get to hear the laughing from the county officer or not.
Do you want this paper later?
Save Friday.
Thank you.
An interpretation of what it
I
says?
recorded everything.
And I've already had script, I've got copies here.
Okay. White County, before we go on to this, Remington has broken away from area plan commission. How did it do it, you know?
I didn't know they did.
So they do their own building permits and everything for like a 2-mile radius around town.
Oh, well, then I'm assuming so statutorily.
Not even in, it doesn't have to be incorporated.
But to my knowledge, the town of Orchid does not have a building department, correct?
Neither does Remington.
Because
They
like,
just
The
have
town
a
manager.
town manager does it.
okay. To see, like in Rensselaer, they have their own. They have their own BZA.
Chances that'd be great.
Like that has to be set up, and it's also defined, I mean, you guys are the same city and town class as Remington would be.
Right.
My guess is, that I haven't looked at it, but my guess is they passed an ordinance establishing their own, yeah. Because normally, like, if you're setting up, like, I'm assuming you guys have software down here, don't you?
I don't think so.
No,
Or what?
because, no.
For like, so a lot of, I know Rensselaer has one, I think DeMont and Wheatfield both have one, where essentially like the building codes for the town apply to residents outside the town limits up to 2 miles or whatever it is.
On the wind farm, yeah.
Can they extend it back out to 2 miles?
Yeah, I mean, I know a
Well,
lot,
I thought it was
I
just
know
a minimum
DeMont
at
and
one
Wheatfield both have
phase,
2 miles.
unless they changed it on the whole thing.
Which for ordinance enforcement, it's a nightmare for towns because you'll get some hillbilly who lives out in the country 1.5 miles that's got 55 junk cars in the front yard.
Hey, I take offense to
Yeah, and then it's like, well, those are town ordinances.
It's only
Lots of
54,
them.
right?
You're right.
But, yeah. So,
No, it's just my thought process was,
yeah, if it's been up on
I
blocks
find
for
out
10
what
years,
the
it's not a project.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to know.
Who knows that?
Who would know that?
What was
What our
the
buffer is? How would we find out what our buffer is?
I probably talked to Dylan. I mean, she'd know, at least at the county level.
Is there any way,
So,
is there
or-
anything that any of us could research without actually asking her? Until we
Well, like,
know, until we know for sure what it is and then.
Yeah, I mean, all I can speak to is I know when I was the city attorney for Rensselaer, they actually had an ordinance that established the buffer zone.
Do we have one, Jared, do you know?
Can you
Right on
make
it.
one?
If you guys want me to look into that, I can do that.
What other ways can we stop it?
What's that?
What other ways can we stop it?
Because I know, like, for example, they had the same issue with solar and, or not solar, with wind and Rensselaer, where they passed an ordinance that you couldn't have like wind within 2 miles, within
Right.
the buffer zone to help keep it. It didn't go north of 16 anyways, but
If they create an ordinance, of a 2 mile buffer, would that stop it?
I think it would create if it didn't stop it, it would make it much more difficult, but.
Can you write it up then?
Yeah, I'm just thinking from their point, I always try to take these things of their legal team, what am I gonna argue? And I can see them saying, well, we started this project before that was enacted, so we're grandfathered in. That's probably what they're gonna do.
It's a moratorium.
Oh, I guess, yeah, there is a moratorium.
So technically, legally,
Well, the point of a moratorium is to get things in place to regulate it. So
correct, so
you probably would have a much stronger argument with the buffer zone.
Let's get it on right up.
somebody need to make a motion for that?
I'd love to make
Go
a
ahead.
motion, but I can't.
I'll make the motion of whatever you're making.
To have a buffer zone.
To establish a buffer zone 2 miles out.
I'll take a look at it.
I mean,
You can let the girls know, or you let Carrie know whether or not it can be wrote up, or
Yeah, and what I can do is what I'll probably do is just pull a couple of sample ordinances from surrounding, like I know like DeMott's got one, Rensselaer's got one, and I can give you some samples to work on language.
Okay, so who made that motion?
yeah,
That's how Rensselaer has jurisdiction, like from Rensselaer all the way out to like Sandy Hines Golf Course area. Is their building codes apply out there even to those subdivisions.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor? Opposed? The only other option I thought of is if you had it incorporated, but
Yeah,
you would have more control on that.
yeah, and you're still going to have, you may have some grandfather issues with like things in the commercial park that are already in existence,
Well,
prior to.
I'm not against development, I'm just against the data center.
Sure.
correctly, correct.
Yeah,
I mean, you wanna build another warehouse, go ahead,
yeah.
or, something like that.
Yeah.
So actually don't have jobs here, not here in California.
Right.
Right, I mean, or something that, when the bubble bursts, you actually have something that you can use that property for, and don't put all your eggs in one
Do
basket.
you know, because you sound like you've been in more meetings than I have, are they talking about an open or a closed?
Open,
Open, 6 to 8 million gallons.
I was gonna say, that takes a substantial amount of water.
60% of that will be wastewater, that, when the tabletop study, they're talking about dropping wastewater into an open ditch.
I was gonna say, because there's no way that Milwaukee can.
Oh, I'm not-
way.
I'm gonna say this, but I am not adding on to the plan.
We're trying to get a closed loop system put in the ordinance. So what do you think, sir? What do you?
There is a serious environmental impact there are forever chemicals that will be
Oh, sure.
discharged into that open ditch. And if you wanna know what those effects are, there's a map in West Virginia that can give you every.
Probably lots of cancer would be my guess.
A lot just watch the movie, Dark Waters. You can find it on Amazon Prime. DuPont buried that really well. It'll tell you exactly what happens to the
Get the,
effects of forever chemicals.
I know, I guess I'm smart enough to know how the cooling systems work, but, I mean, my guess is cold water and air flowing over to cool the air, and how does it get the chemicals in the water?
So they use like, and
when it evaporates,
When-
it concentrates whatever's in the water and makes it at a higher level.
So whatever's in the natural groundwater,
Was my understanding.
Whatever's in the natural groundwater, and they also inject, amines into them, which means that you're not gonna get the calcium deposits in your lines to clog everything up. And
okay. That makes sense.
so then when those chemicals, when everything reacts together, you get the forever chemicals,
Okay.
which is the PFAS.
That answers my question, because I was like, in my, I couldn't figure out how to
Yeah.
take water and make it.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, just for those of you that don't know, if within your process, you create another chemical, that, you know, you took whatever chemicals you're doing, that makes a new chemical, you have to self-report what that new chemical is. And guess what happens when you are regulating, you're not going to report it, which is how PFAS came about.
Thank you.
And then you run your water and your well with stuff. Big need well, after you.
You're gonna find nothing. You're gonna find nothing. Or when you do find something contaminated, so,
Girls in the center, everything will make it.
I
but,
think a 2 mile buffer. Maybe
yeah.
At least get it away from town.
right.
I mean, I don't know how the state is even allowed to do within an inhabited population with the hazards of when there's a fire, the fire department can't fight it.
Because
And
the
then-
state is wanting to be the forerunners in
Yes,
AI and chips and.
I get that. I mean, I get that, but I
They don't
think there's.
care.
No, they don't, because they're not living in it.
So, but that's my, I guess that's my personal opinion.
And then there's another.
Okay,
Somebody is.
They.
we need,
That's what I thought.
area plan appointment. That's hard. Who wants to stay on?
What does that entail? Like, are you supposed to be at the area plan meeting?
No, I'm in a special meeting that meets once every 3 months for a half hour in the courthouse from 3 o'clock to 3:30. Roughly. Sometimes it runs over, but it starts at 3.
Representing the town.
Yes, representing the town of Wolf.
Where did that?
And a lot of times she'll tell me small things that are going on.
Paper she had.
There's one from Chalmers, one from Lawrenceville, and I think there's supposed to be one from Brookston, but the one from Brookston never showed up.
How about that? I make a motion that we nominate Betty for our area plan.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
all in favor? Opposed? Okay. Good on that. Pam?
Everybody should have my notes.
Yes.
Yep.
They've been read. I wanted to start out my conversation with how was your Thanksgiving? I put it on there instead, just at the same time, because I thought maybe this meeting might run a little bit late. And I explained why our Thanksgiving wasn't very good. And I find out that this person, let me back up a little bit. Tyson Jordan is an extreme problem with noise. We all know that. It's not gonna change. I didn't find out until after the fact that Tyson had been warned the day before Thanksgiving about his actions and violations. Keep in mind that these are the state codes. So, be aware. Well, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. Because like 9:15 Thanksgiving morning, he's got stereo up again. So he completely ignored that. I called White County's non-emergency number. I was told that somebody sent nobody over. About 3 minutes later, I got a phone call back from one of White County's finest saying that he, and I quote, was not coming to Woket to hassle Tyson about his loud music because of the town ordinance that Woket has. So there seems to be maybe a little confusion on my part, maybe a little confusion on their part, what the town ordinance is when it comes to this type of situation. The bottom line is, he's been talked to, he's been warned time and time again, nothing is settled, nothing has stopped. He's been caught, I don't know how many times, doing the same thing over and over again. What's gonna happen here? Somebody do something.
Jared, you wanna answer this?
Nope,
Okay, let me rephrase that. Would you please answer it?
we're not going to enforce things that we do not witness. He's been caught twice and warned in the 12-month period of our ordinance.
Okay, that brings me to you. Describe, define facie, is that how you say it?
Prima facie evidence, we cannot enforce something we do not witness. It would be a violation of civil rights and abuse of authority if I were to write a ticket and said they did this. I need proof.
That's true.
However, what does the state say about that?
Prosecutor, in a conversation with him today, he agreed with me, he empathizes with your situation, but he also advised that I cannot enforce an ordinance that I do not witness.
Now, one thing that you can do that helps with that, and I've seen this done before, I don't know if you have this in place, if you have a security camera that has audio that
Mine
faces
is-
this property, well, I was gonna say, because I have seen that before where they've shown the officer, and then the officer can write in the PC, and I had an opportunity to review this.
On ordinances, I can use a third party, i.e. a photo or an audio device.
Your deputies as witnesses aren't enough,
Yes, they gave warning.
a verbal warning.
Yes,
How many warnings is it gonna
one,
take?
he got a warning within a 12-month period.
Did he get a
Following the
warning?
ordinances.
Did he get a warning for Thanksgiving Day?
He was warned under the ordinances for the 2 violations that he was seen within the 12-month period.
So the next step would be a fine.
If it's outside, he gets 1 warning every 12-month period.
Well, this
Yeah,
happens like every 2 weeks.
We have to witness.
My suggestion to you would be, if this is continuing to happen, take a video on your iPhone and then show it to the police.
I can take all the video that I want, but it doesn't, there's no sound. My cameras don't reach that far.
No, I'm saying, do you have an iPhone or something like this?
Samsung.
Yeah, I don't see why. As a criminal defense lawyer, I have cases all the time where the probable cause affidavit says, I had an opportunity to review a video which showed Joe Blow doing X, Y, Z. They should be able to do something off of that.
But
So
without
if
the
he's,
audio,
what's that?
sound is the problem. And if I don't have anything that can pick up the sound,
Well, I mean, and I'm not familiar with your phone, but I mean, most phones would have the ability to pick up audio. I don't, maybe yours
my phone
doesn't.
doesn't, and I'm not gonna put myself in a position to get close enough to getting it. And if I understood what Jared said, unless he sees it, or one of his deputies sees it,
You have a neighbor also that lives next door and close to you, and every time that I've consulted with them on the violation, they say they don't believe it's a violation. So prima facie evidence
Excuse me?
also gets
Excuse
lost
me?
in this case. Your neighbors are not agreeing with you.
which one?
The ones that live next to him,
You mean Chad?
yes, that'd be one.
Would you like to see all my messages back and
No,
forth
I
with
do not
Chad?
want to do that in a board meeting right now.
Because that's not how it is.
Clearly, I cannot enforce something I do not witness, and I will not do so because I want to follow the state laws.
Technically, Chris
Chris can enforce it if he sees it as a board member. You can also take civil action against them on that nuisance
I
statute.
shouldn't have to, the board should be doing this.
can write, all of us can write ordinance violation tickets.
I just need to know how to do it.
All you gotta do is witness it, tell me, and then I'll show you how to write.
Did
You
you,
got cards, I'm good.
There are tickets.
last meeting, Chris said that he heard it.
It was before I realized that there was an issue going on, but I did hear it, and then it was reported to be on Thanksgiving. After I heard about it, I did go outside, and by that point, he was gone. So I did not hear it on Thanksgiving. So,
And, Katrina has said that she's heard it in the house before, but she didn't realize it was such an issue either, so there's that too. I expect the town to control people in the town by the ordinances. Granted, this ordinance, this noise ordinance is fairly vague, but then you go to the county, then you go to the state. And the town marshal can enforce county and state laws. So I expect the town marshal to do that based on the ordinance that says it can be done by prima facie. Now, I don't care what your interpretation is. You can look anywhere you want on the internet. I have talked to my attorney, and his interpretation as well is you do not have to see it, you only have to be aware of it.
Well, I will just tell you, I'm just thinking on the other side of this. If I'm a criminal defense lawyer and the officer has no personal knowledge, that's a field day for me.
He does have knowledge. He has had for a year and a half.
Well, but you have to be able to prove that. Because if he's up on a witness stand and the officer and the defense lawyer goes, hey, did you see it happen? No. Did you hear it happen? No. Your Honor, I'm moving to dismiss. And it's probably going to get granted.
JR has seen it. JR has heard it. You've seen it. You've heard it. Your deputy, your third deputy, actually found Tyson had a soundbar on his porch with music blaring. I didn't even have to take action on that one. He just happened to be driving by and saw it.
I haven't heard it. Don't say I heard it, that's not true.
I'll go back to my notes again and show you.
I agree with you that there might be some issues there, but we have to witness and enforce it. I cannot enforce it just because you said. Some neighbor can come to me and they don't like their neighbor, and they can say something, and it could be untrue. I have to be able to prove it. People have protection and civil rights for.
Right.
Well, I'm not gonna get sued or lose my, disobey my oath that I've signed and sworn to uphold. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
So what good is innovation then?
I don't think you have an understanding.
Prima facie evidence just means it's Latin for on its face.
Yeah.
Meaning you have to have direct evidence of the infraction or the misdemeanor or whatever it is. And it requires to prosecute it, you have to have actual knowledge, which is why hearsay is not admissible in court. You can't go in and say, well, Joe Blow down the street told me that he saw this or heard that. You actually have to have personal knowledge of the event. Yeah, prima facie is just a Latin phrase for on its face.
Yeah, on its face. Prima facie literally means at first sight, but it can also mean self-evident or obvious. Obviously, this has been going on for a year and a half.
Okay,
My Thanksgiving, even though it was just coffee and rolls, went out the window.
I'm aware you're upset. It has been going on for too long. If we get some video evidence of it, we'd solve everything.
How do I video noise?
Get a better microphone. I don't know, man.
If you heard me, I purchased cameras. Okay, so there are things being done. Just
You're
because
gonna
you
put
don't
one on-
see them, doesn't mean they're not being done.
You gonna put one on the pole out in front of my house and aim it at his house?
No, I'm not going to specifically aim it at one individual's house.
That gets into another can of worms.
I'm putting cameras up in town for a plethora of reasons. Crime deterrence and solving some crimes.
Crime deterrence, like joyride and people do.
That's correct.
And it has sound.
And it's not in a public office, so it's
No,
allowed.
it's in a public right of way.
What if 3 or 4 of the neighbors all chime together and say, we heard this?
Well, they would be witness to an offense. I mean, I don't. And the fact of the matter is it all comes down to if it could be used, because he can write whatever report he wants. If the prosecutor doesn't do anything with it, it's not really
Pretty
working.
much the way with any law. I mean, any ordinance, if you're, what's the point of having them if you're not gonna be
What's
enforced?
what's the fine for the first time?
$50.
He'll pay it.
There's
But it goes up.
subsequent fines. It goes up.
I can't remember, Jared, is it 1 or 2 in a 12-month window?
It's 1 warning in a 12-month period. You're allowed to get.
What is it, 1 warning without a fine, or is that you get fined after the first warning?
You can get fined after the first warning.
And I mean, you know,
It's just like it says we can write a ticket for someone speeding, but we have the discretion to
and
decide.
something I would suggest if you're looking at amending the ordinance down the road is maybe you have an escalating fine system to where, you know, $50 is kind of whatever, but if it jumps up to 150 or 250,
Yeah, any person found in violation of any other provision of this ordinance shall be fined not less than $25 for the first offense, not less than $75 for the second offense, and not less than $150 for the third subsequent offense, sorry.
Do you have the ordinance for noise there with you?
This is the Wolcott ordinance that,
Could you please read the part where it says, whatever it says about what the noise is? That wasn't the right statement, but I think you know what I mean.
about what, basically what makes it a offense.
It's quiet hours between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. and a certain decibel level.
No, not on music and stuff, it's not.
Music and stuff is different when it's in a paragraph.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it, I don't have it
On the
marked.
second page, what's that?
Shall make or cause to be made any noise that is unreasonably annoys, disturbs, injures, or endangers the comfort, repose, health, peace, safety, or welfare of any person, or precludes their enjoyment of the property or affects the property's value. This general prohibition is not limited by the specific restrictions listed in the following sections. Radios, television sets, musical instruments, tape recorders, players, amplifiers, or similar devices. Operating or permitting the use of operation of any such device in such a manner to be plainly audible, any persons on or in adjoining property, apartment, office, structure, sidewalk, or vehicle shall be prima facie evidence of the violation of this ordinance.
So music does fall under the town ordinance.
There is no time limit on music. If it bothers you on your property, that's the way I read it, that
But after 11, it does get low. I mean, 51 decibels is pretty low or whatever.
right. Right, there is no, it doesn't say anything about decibels. The only restriction between 11 and 6 is domestic power tools, mechanically powered saws, drills, grinders, lawnmowers.
Residential decibel.
Jared, does the town have a decibel reader?
Yeah.
So you can actually show
I
up
use
and- Okay.
And every time I've got a call, I go over there and I turn my truck off and I hold it outside. And talking close like this, I'm telling you, the decibels are over 56 right now. So, it's, I
Well,
mean,
imagine
even
hearing
notice it.
that noise inside my house.
Taking a recording with your phone with a decibel reader in the background.
You're at 61 right now.
You want us to come in with a decibel reader? I'm not gonna buy any more equipment.
No, we're not, we are not purchasing your decibel reader.
I did look them up on Amazon, they're $20.
And your comment about Chad, would you repeat that?
No,
Because I just texted Chad and that's not what he said.
open.
So, which we said that statement before, you can take a decibel reader, take a video of you taking it, so you're proving that you're not making extra noise. That would be evidence.
I should not have to prove it.
So all of that stuff that Chris just read there
I
is
understand.
absolutely useless
Well,
unless
it-
Jared happens to drive by and hear it.
No, but if she can have that,
I can witness it too.
if she has the record of it, because she said you couldn't get, she can't take a video of it because it's not picking it up. Well, the decibel reader ought to be able to pick it up. You're taking a video of it, so you're proving you're not making noise inside the house to record it. All right?
Right.
So, that would
Is
be,
it a decibel limit, or is it, because the way I read that is it's,
So we have the back pages where those decibels are, there's industrial, commercial, residential.
okay. I guess it would take, maybe, again, I'm not legalese, but the way I read it is if it's bothering you on your property, that's a nuisance.
That could be open to a big wide
I know,
interpretation.
but-
And you gotta be careful going down that road, because one person's reasonableness is different than another person's reasonableness. And you don't like somebody, you can deem something unreasonable, and then we're just really going into a
We're
rabbit
not
hole.
talking about not liking someone, we're talking about noise levels.
no, but, again,
It's not as black and white as you think. We have to follow the law and respect people's civil rights.
What about my civil rights?
more defined regulations.
I mean,
Being on her side of this, I'm gonna read it the way I read it. The following acts are declared to be unlawful: radios, television sets, musical instruments, tapes, record players, amplifiers, or similar devices operating or permitting the use or operation of any such device in such a manner to be plainly audible to any persons on or in an adjoining property, apartment, office, structure, sidewalk, or vehicle shall be evidence of the violation.
have to witness it.
Yes.
Have to prove it, and we can write that down.
Okay.
That's my only,
Which is
that's my
fine.
comment. Like,
I wanna know.
If I witness it, or I can get proof of it, absolutely, I will write a ticket tomorrow.
I just gotta know is that the way I read that, there's no decibel limit to that. If you can hear it,
And it's pretty vague, because I mean, in theory, in the springtime, you can have your window open. And if your neighbor's standing on their property
Here's your
line.
TV,
It's
it's
one thing,
unreasonable.
it's one thing to go, oops, I got that too loud, sorry about that. That's
But-
not this at all.
And I
But
know,
it is, if you
taking
go that way, you're gonna go that way over here, it's not as cut and dry as you think. So, in enforcing things, you have to be careful, you have to do things the right way, you have to make sure you do it right and fair.
but is there a difference? And again, speculation at this point. There was evidence at some point he was doing it on purpose.
We have one case where purposely he was doing
Okay,
it, and he was spoken to by our deputy.
okay.
And
So-
we have a
Because
documented
it
case
goes
on it.
changes from, hey, he listens to the music.
He had a stereo sitting on a chair outside pointed at their house, it was perfectly
Okay.
done. He was caught, and he was given his warning.
Okay, so he has this warning now.
Yep, that was past 12 months ago.
Okay,
Cameron, what was the amount on Facebook?
He had a new speaker. It wasn't on Facebook. I don't have Facebook.
I don't have any of these pictures, proofs, or
and
anything.
that's what I'm saying, this is all
Hearsay.
circumstantial, but
Okay, where did you hear that?
On Snapchat. On the record of it.
Yeah, he's deleted it.
Yeah,
But,
that's-
It automatically deletes.
okay, but would you tell Jared what the comment was?
We don't know that.
We already knew it. I said that last meeting. It was too pissed you. Said this ought to really piss Pam off.
Now, there he is admitting it.
It wasn't playing.
I-
It was off. It was just sitting there.
So he's confessed, so to speak.
I'll file a case based on a Snapchat that I don't have proof of with the prosecutor and see what he says.
I'm not talking about filing anything with the prosecutor, I'm talking about you and.
No, that's enforcement. I'm telling you, that would be enforcement. Me taking one thing you're talking about, a comment he makes to harass you, so to speak, and file that with the prosecutor's office, and he can determine whether he files charges against Tyson or not. That's how it works. He has due process too. He has the right to face his accuser. And it's up to the prosecutor whether something's filed, not up to me.
I think this all started with
It all
the sidewalk.
started when we decided to move to town.
Started when you were complaining about him parking on the sidewalk. And then it led to this, and it led to that, and now you pissed him off. And now
I pissed him off?
yes, you pissed him off.
Okay.
And that's what it is. He's being a
And now we have a wonderful Hatfield McCoy neighborhood here.
Yes.
I mean,
If someone had enforced him parking on the sidewalk, maybe it wouldn't have gone that far.
I talked to Tyson on Saturday, Steve and I were out driving around. He was across the sidewalk, he was loading tables into his
I'm not
truck
talking about.
to take down for a, Thanksgiving at his mom and dad's. I told him, I said, when you're done loading your trucks, please move your truck, and he says, I don't have a problem with it. I asked very nicely, and I asked him to behave, so he would knock his cam off.
I
I'm not
tagged his
talking
truck
about
before for
temporary.
parking. I've got pictures, I mean, you know, I tagged his truck for parking on the sidewalk and he corrected the issue.
But Jared, and I understand her frustration with Tyson, but if you're gonna follow all the ordinance, when are you gonna do your police job?
Thank you.
No, I don't think you got what you said.
Yes.
I'm serious, if you do all the ordinances, he's not gonna have time to do his police job because he's gonna to enforce the ordinance.
I mean, I am not here to go write tickets to every, buddy that's here, because everybody, you can find a warrant violation on anybody. It's not that hard.
I agree.
And I'm all about dealing with communication and compliance and understanding, and yes, there's gonna be some difficult human beings, trust me, all of them for 20+ years. But ticketing and enforcing is usually not the best resolution. It's communication and cooperation and understanding with each other and trying to get to a common basis. Hopefully I'm not saying he hasn't done those things that make me mad, obviously, he put a speaker out front. But hopefully, it's getting better and he's not doing as much. He no violations all weekend, he worked all weekend.
He was, while he was working, it was no problem at all. As soon as he got fired, he started up.
Well,
Did I tried to resolve the situation last winter when I asked him to come to your office to discuss it, and he brought his dad. His dad was the mouthpiece, and nothing got resolved because he wouldn't let Tyson get a word in edgewise.
we're
So
not
it's
seeing
not like I
if
had a
they
trial.
does it here in the next week or so. We're gonna see if he does it again. Bruce is gonna be able to, hopefully,
But again, I'm gone from
but you're gone.
7:30 to 5:30, so I apologize for that, but if I'm home, text me.
So, we
I'll
will
step
see.
out, if I can witness it, great.
I'll give you my number.
And I'll talk to him again. I talked to him, when was that you
I don't know, it was a long.
stopped at Kevin's?
That was Saturday night.
I yelled at him then again.
When
I told him to knock it off. I understand what he's doing, but nothing else.
And Jared's had that same conversation with him at least twice.
I tried to have the,
Sometimes it doesn't,
Oh,
I mean,
and that's why I'm
you can have people tell you what to do.
if I had tickets to glue in the face.
You know what? You have to decide that yourself. It's the same thing with Karen Evans and I. I plowed her in last year. She had an all big fit after Judy ratted me out. Because she had no idea who did it first. But I did it. I'm done.
That's
So,
been 23 minutes.
anyway, I think it's time to adjourn unless anyone else has anything else.